Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Tech Productions. Today I'm back up joined once again by Jake and Trevor.
What's going on, y'all?
Hello.
And today's matchup is Jake versus Trevor. Jake has brought us starter deck Majin Vegeta, and Trevor has brought back a blast from the past, Bojack. And of course, it's limited to one Majin Buu Unison. But like always, buttons, links, and description. Guys, let's get into this.
So, since Bancroft brought it up, how does the limit to one on the Majin Buu Unison feel when you're playing this deck?
Awful.
Awful.
The deck, the thing is, without it, you're basically losing an entire turn's worth of momentum because like you combo with stuff for one energy, and the thing that you play out for that one energy just has so much value attached to it by that turn. Like you can play a 20k double striker, or the 20k dual attack that bottom decks one, or the 20k that helps you fix your energy if it got messed up, and all kinds of stuff. And basically you completely lose out on that on your awakened turn. And then obviously the replacement unison for the other three slots, the SS Go tanks, is basically you just draw two cards, but you lose that restand of an energy at the end of the turn. So you basically have to go into your opponent's turn with that one restood energy rather than spending that energy on your turn that you would later restand with the Buu Unison. So it feels a lot worse without it.
Without knowing what happened in this matchup, me and Trevor did play, and it did feel like Gogeta has... It's Gogeta, right? No, sorry, it's...
Go Tanks?
Go Tanks, yeah. It feels like it has good utility, but in the long term, compared to the Buu Unison, it is far less valuable because the +0 is beneficial to the Buu Unison, where Go Tanks, I think, has a -2 and a -3. So, like, you're only getting 2 uses of it, or even just 1 use of it, and outside that, you're just relying on it being a card itself.
Yeah, and, like, if you use the -2 on it, yeah, it's a 20k dual attacker that also has blocker, but if you use the -2, you're down to 2 markers, and then your opponent just has to remove 1 marker from it, and from that point, it's basically a completely dead card. Because you no longer get... The point of having the unisons are the plus-minus, unison abilities, but it requires 2 markers to even do anything that is effectively just a basic, really expensive battle card.
Yeah, I could see that. Or like an expensive or an overcosted like 2-drop Unison at that point.
So, okay, pushing past the Unisons, how do you feel about the new battle cards and Z battle cards for this deck that we got from the Dash Packs?
Oh, they're great. I think my idea of which ones are more valuable than others is a little bit different than the rest of the community. It seems like a lot of people really like the 4-drop that's in my energy, or they really like the old Gokua that's 20k single swing. Or was it Gokua? But whereas I really value the new 4-drop Gokua that fixes your energy, so it allows you to use a lot more like fun stuff in the deck, because whereas before you had to rely on the Zeno super combo, so you can use your Zeno super combo differently. And it also like rips a card out of your opponent's hand, which is just pretty neat too, especially for like a blue deck. And then obviously the Zangia Z card gets you to where you can awaken on turn 3 as opposed to turn 4 on your opponent's terms if you got down to 3 life. So it's really nice.
And that thing just sticks to the board too. It's got barrier, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so it has 10k barrier, and then it also has an auto. When you play a Bojack Brigade card, you can KO it, and you get that Bojack Brigade card barrier until the end of your opponent's next turn.
Yeah, so kind of almost got like the Oceanus Shenron effect from Red Sin tied into there too. That was one of the cards that I thought, or that I was most impressed by after playing this game. I was like, wow, that literally stayed there the entire time, and he got, decent amount of value off of it.
But something else I learned this night is if you play against like a control deck that just goes, I charge in energy and then I play something and then I pass turn and they don't swing, this deck loses so much gas because it's a combo um, oriented deck. So if you don't enter the combo state phase, then you just dwindle into nothing and the opponent outscales you. Um, so it definitely made for a lot of. It's just probably going to be one of those decks that's very meta reliant whenever it can actually be brought out versus not brought out, but it's a lot more restricted now than it was before.
Yeah, I really like the mechanics of the Bojack deck, and I hope in the future they kind of print more four-cost unisons or maybe even reboot the leader to make it a little bit more competitive because the playing guys out of your energy almost like a second hand has always been kind of a powerful mechanic. And I don't know. I just feel like this leader kind of deserves more of a day in the sun than it was popular for a little while, and then everyone's like, well, let's just play all this stuff in Soul Striker. And Soul Striker kind of took this deck's shine initially.
Yeah, back before Galactic Buster got the errata.
Yeah.
And then what's really unfortunate is this deck finally topped right before the Majin Buu limit. It was finally going to be, worth trying out, seeing what other people that are, better players than me came up with. And then the Buu Unison guy hit. And then it was like, well, nobody's going to touch this deck with a 10-foot pole other than me because I really like the deck.
So
So,
we talked a lot about Bojack. Let's hop over real quick because I know this particular night we had two different Majin Vegeta players, and your build was definitely different than Nick's. We haven't seen it yet, but I assume it gets played this match. Possibly, you do play a Unison.
I don't remember if the Unison comes out in this game or not, but I'll just go ahead and tell the people about it. In my version, I play the three-cost baby Unison from, God, I think it was like set 13 or something like that.
The Garlic Junior set.
Yeah. And basically what it does is if you have two yellow battle cards in rest mode, it and your leader will get 5k. So if you're Z Awakened, you're like a 25 base if you have battle cards in play, which makes your leader really hard to attack in a deck where your leader's hard to attack anyway because you have the threat of just nuking the entire board. Additionally, it can, on a -2, choose a 5-drop or less yellow card and restand it, which means we could attack with our servant cards more than once. There's other ways to restand them inherently, but I just figured a little bit of redundancy on that effect would be nice. And I didn't really feel like playing the Zarbons that we've seen other Majin Vegeta players utilize. So here's just something I like to do in general when playing a yellow deck is just clean the board up and force your opponent to reinvest energy every turn if they want to mount some kind of offense. Because yellow's defense is well costed, but typically not removal. They typically remove things with their battle cards, not necessarily their extras. I feel like it's always better when playing a yellow deck, whether it's control or aggro, to try and keep your opponent's board clean as much as possible and make your defense steps easier.
yeah, and when I've been playing against this deck recently, obviously I've been playing other leaders, so I was not expecting this much wide aggression from it. Because I'm usually able to kind of clean up their board a little bit. But whenever you apply Basil, Trunks, both of these Goku Vegetas plus the Pride, I'm like, well, that's that that's kind of scurry.
Yeah. A lot of people don't want to invest heavily in a board because your leader's going to blow up the board at some point during the game. But there's a couple ways for me to keep, for example, this Trunks on board, and I don't really care if I lose the clone token, but the way the hand totals and life totals were shaking out, I felt like I couldn't really afford to give you that many more turns, even if it meant putting a bunch of gas in your hand and putting you in a range where you could awaken. Um, I think overall it just suited me better to close the game, even if that meant losing a little bit of value on these battle cards when I activate my leader effect.
And does your Z leader require an energy to awaken, or is it just Z cost?
2Z energy. You don't have to pay anything. You have to be at 3 life or less, though.
See, we've played with Z leaders, the more I realize that it feels like every Z leader that's been consistent in showing like good results don't cost to like any energy to actually Z awaken.
Yeah, the Red Sin and this one are both really powerful, and neither of them require regular energy to awaken.
Is Vegeta's Z leader? I can't remember off the top of my head. Naturally 20k.
Yeah,
Yes.
naturally 20.
Now, yes, it does have the activate main where you go down to 1 life, but that's a board wipe and a power boost, I think.
Yeah,
Which-
plus 10k
yep.
and double strike. Or 15, actually, I think.
Yeah, it's 15.
And it's activate battle, I think, too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just a really strong. It's a glass cannon. Like if you can't seal the game on that, you're most likely going to lose afterwards. But
Yeah, it doesn't have the repeatable board wipe that Dredgeku had, but I think overall, just this is a much more powerful version of the I'm gonna take my own life and blow up the board leader.
which we've seen before with another Vegeta deck, another started Vegeta deck back in the day, if I recall correctly.
That might have been before my time.
I think it was the baby one.
I was about to say the baby Vegeta has like that Goku ape, right? Where you can, or not Goku ape.
You can take a
The
life to
baby-
restand it.
Yeah. And then you also have the like, I think it was like a 7-drop baby ape that you literally like activate battle, take life, activate battle, take life, and you can just force yourself all the way down.
Yeah. Now this, in the right matchup, this counterplay is really strong. In Trevor's situation, you have technically 5 cards standing because you can theoretically attack 3 times if you wanted to, but I don't know if that's worth it, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
And this game has been really odd because the people see, I'm sure, I still haven't seen a unison. Jake unfortunately missed a charge back on turn 3. And it's the first match of the night. I'd been having a little sake before this, and it probably affected my play a little bit. But it was this Vegito counterplay. I was just like, well, it's gonna block, so I basically had to decide: do I swing through this and start resting my stuff, or do I? If so, then I bottom deck the blocker Vegito. If I don't want to try that, then we'll bottom deck one of these aggressive pieces he still has on his board and just pass turn, which is what I end up doing here.
Which in a blue deck, you want to keep your energy to maximize your turn. We talked about earlier in match how important it is for Bojack. I think that is the smart choice.
Especially if he gets through this turn defensively, he'll have a lot of pressure with that dual attacking Bojack and whatever else he can play with 6 energy, which is probably a lot. So we get a little free rest there on the Bardock father and son, which lets us go ahead and activate Basil.
That's an
That's
interesting
Go ahead.
tech piece. I do like that.
Yeah, it doesn't really care what energy cost the target is, so it's pretty good against blocker tokens. And that little Boujack, I think is that guy's name. He had blocker, so just a good way to start getting in towards Trev's life at this point. And here I'm just gonna attack the little blocker myself. You know, when I help my boy Vegeta out, just go ahead and take care of that guy.
Yeah. And here I'm just kind of looking at his energy and seeing 4 standing energy in yellow on an offensive turn where he's got this many cards up plus a Z leader with going for game, and I'm just sweating bullets as one does.
That's the counterattack one, play from your energy.
Yeah, so you tap in energy, play it from your energy, and discard a card to activate it from your energy.
Yeah, I was pretty worried that guy was a floodgate, and I was like, I don't know if I have a counterplay for this.
And I'm taking at this point, Jake, it feels like you're just swinging to try to pull resources from his hand. So when you go with the leader strike, you get the double strike applied there.
Yeah, I can also, this Trunks is also going to grab double strike since I'm Z Awakened. So basically, I'm either going to try and get in with the Trunks or get in with the Z leader, and he chose to not negate this Trunks swing here. And I'm just going to try and dump everything into it.
Why the Beerus super combos over the Garlic Junior ones, or the Krillin ones?
Yeah, I can use them at any life total, right? It doesn't matter if I'm at 5, which is where the leader goes naturally when it awakens. The Krillins require you to be at 4. And if I want to stick on 5 and then take myself to 4 with a Frieza's Army negate, I can do that using these Beerus super combos. Also, the fact that they replace themselves, they add the card that you reveal to your hand no matter what color it is. Means I'm not worried about running into overrealms or anything like that. And yeah, I can just apply them offensively and defensively in the early game because I don't really want to get too deep into the late game with this build. And I think here we match at 60.
Yep. Yeah, and this was me being kind of greedy because I knew he could swing again. I had Baby Hatch in hand, but I thought I might be able to outcombo him, but it basically became he had literally Black God Kamehameha, and it just put him over to where I wasn't going to be able to outcombo him.
Really strong.
Yeah.
And it's always scared to use a Baby Hatch against a yellow deck with so much energy open, but it is one of those things, unfortunately.
Yeah, as a yellow player, you can order your turn in such a way that you can make your opponent think you have the cooler, even if you don't even have access to it.
So with that being said, take your opportunity. Keep my buttons down below. Links in the description. Check them out. Bye.